Alhamdulillah, it is that time again. Increase our worship and plead for forgiveness. Alhamdulillah, it is that time again. Increase our worship and plead for
Need inspiration? Need to brush up on the do's and don'ts during this blessed month? Join us for Sunnah followers, Ramadan prep, and allow Ustada Layla Nashiba to walk you through day by day through this blessed month of Ramadan. This will keep your iman tight, your ibadah right, and keep you pushing in the light. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnah followers.
Welcome to a new way. He has put you on a new journey. Hold close to him and follow what he says. Sent the final prophet Muhammad to mankind a mercy.
As a part of your library for the kids. So tonight we're going to speak about sickness and physically demanding jobs. Let's put the PowerPoint up here. Here we go. And I'm going to log right here in this Zoom room here so I can see. Okay, first of all, where does the exemption come from? It comes from a law. I want everyone to understand new shahadas and old shahadas. No one has the authority to issue and make the laws for us except Allah. Allah is the only one who has that authority. Humans today are busy trying to change Allah's laws, change Allah's rules, blur the lines. This is haram. These people have issues because Allah's laws, his commands are for eternity. So Allah says in the Quran, in the interpretation of the meaning, and whoever is sick or on a journey, the same number of days in which you did not observe fasting must be made up on other days. So Allah is the one that gives you that right. Okay? And I talked about it yesterday. Whenever the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam traveled, he would break his fast. He never ever fasted when he was traveling. We have so many hadiths from Umar, radiallahu anha, Ali, Ibn Abbas, and others that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam always broke his fast when traveling, just to show the people that you're not losing out on a blessing. And he never fasted or had anyone fast when they were sick. And this is important because a lot of you sisters, I'm talking about my students, my old women, a lot of my elderly women have a hard time accepting the qadr of Allah. That's your jinn. Your jinn knows that your belief in Allah is strong. So your personal jinn is trying to push you women to become fanatics, to kill yourselves. Remember, your jinn wants to take your soul. He wants you to die in disbelief. And you sisters who are sick and you were told that you should not be fasting, but you're going to do it anyway, and you die, that's suicide. And y'all already know, I did a whole class on that. Suicide is a sin of disbelief. So if you're sick You do not fast. You make up the days if you fall in that category. If you don't fall in the category of making up the days, like most of you elderly women, most of y'all fall in the category of ransom. You pay the ransom. Okay? I want to emphasize that. And again, it can be any type of sickness, like pregnancy. Pregnancy is a sickness. But pregnant, that doesn't mean that women that are pregnant don't have to make an attempt to fast. That's not true. I know some sisters who try to make themselves get pregnant just so they can get out of fasting. You have to still make the attempt to fast. The only women, I repeat, the only pregnant women, I repeat, the only pregnant women who do not have to make the attempt to fast are those women who have been diagnosed by their doctors as high risk pregnancy. If your doctor has diagnosed you as a high risk pregnancy, you don't make the attempt to fast at all. Instead, you pay ransom, the ransom for each day. Now, for the regular pregnant woman who has not been diagnosed as a high risk, she has to make the attempt to fast. But if you become sick, if you're fasting and it's too much, then you can break your fast. And you have to pay the ransom for that day, but you still must make that attempt. Because too many of you women are weak. I'm just going to keep it real. And the brothers don't know, because don't no man understand no woman. Okay? It takes a woman to tell you about a woman, not a man. Men are weak to women. What is the greatest temptation on this earth for a man? A woman. A woman can fake and pretend, oh, I can't fast. Oh. And you brothers sit there and tell them, oh, you ain't got to fast. You falling, you sick. No. Women are the biggest shysters you'll come upon. And I'm a woman. I could be one. They have to make the attempt. That's why that hadith says if she fears for her life or her baby, but that don't mean any woman can, every woman is afraid for her life. I ain't even pregnant. But everybody knows me and tell you Layla's always afraid she getting ready to die. So just because I'm afraid I'm going to die, I can't fast? No, that's not what that means. These are talking about high-risk pregnancy women. And there were a lot of high-risk pregnancy women back in the Prophet's time. That was the 6th century. They didn't have medicine like we have today. Women used to die in childbirth. That's different. But today is not the same. Oh, no. Oh, no. Just because you think you're going to die or your baby gonna die does not exempt you from fasting, sisters. I don't care what these brothers tell y'all. They don't know. I'm a woman. I do know. Okay? You have to make the attempt and stop playing games with Allah and with yourself. And by the way, a lot of people ask me, Sister Layla, why is it that so many children are being born disabled from Muslim women? Why is it that so many of us have autistic kids? We have kids that's on the spectrum. Well, that's the qadr of Allah, of course. But maybe it's because you pretended to be sick and didn't fast. Have you women ever thought about that? Remember, you can trick your husband. You can trick your mother. You can trick other people, but you can't trick Allah. Maybe that's why so many of us are giving birth to children that are on the spectrum today, because we did not fulfill our obligations to Allah when we were pregnant. There was nothing wrong with us. It didn't make us tired. We were able to work. We go to work every day pregnant. We deal with the fitna on the job like a man does every day pregnant. But you're going to say that you can't cook because you're pregnant. You have to eat because you're pregnant. Come on, guys. That's probably why so many kids are born on the spectrum. Allah is going to test you with the things you love the most. You love that kid more than you did Allah. You couldn't fulfill your obligation. So now Allah gave you a kid, but the kid's on the spectrum. All of my students, I have young girls here on my website. They've all been pregnant and they all fasted during their pregnancies. But I did have some students who were high risk, and I had to explain to them, don't even attempt it. But again, remember, some of us, I'm healthy. There's nothing wrong with me, but I got 3 other kids. You're running around the house chasing after 3 other kids, and you just don't feel good. You're fasting, but you just like, man, this is just too much. Break your fast. You made the attempt. You can break it and pay the ransom. But to say that I ain't got to fast, period, nope, that's wrong. Y'all understand that? And I don't care what these other brothers of Dawah tell y'all. They don't know the games of women like Layla Nashiba do. That's why it's good to learn from a woman. As Aisha radiallahu anha used to tell the women would come from Syria, and as Islam spread, and they would come to, the delegations would come to Medina with their husbands to learn about the religion. They would all go to Ibn Masud, or they would go to Ibn Abbas. Aisha was their last choice, because that's just how women are. They don't want to hear from another woman because we're jealous. And they would go and ask Ibn Masud questions about women, and he would give them answers. And then Aisha would say, that's wrong. That's wrong. But see, the women don't want to come and ask another woman, because we're going to keep it real. So yes, you sisters who are pregnant, make the effort to fast. But if you become sick during the day, if it's too much for you, because I know it can be too much, especially if you got a bunch of other kids, break it. Pay the ransom. Everybody got that? Before I go any further, are there any questions on that from any pregnant woman before I move forward? Zoom room, y'all got it? Anissa, am I clear in there? I guess I ain't got nobody in Zoom.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the next point. Now, here we go. Now we're going to get to the good stuff for the brothers too. Allah says if we're sick, you can break your fast. The sickness does not have to be a major one. Like I said, pregnancy is a sickness. If you're just not feeling it that day, you can break it. But you have to make the attempt to fast. But you can break it. Well, the same thing. I mean, it doesn't have to be a major sickness. Okay? Now, a lot of people will say, well, Sister Layla, what about this? I have a cough. I have a cough due to cold. Can I break my fast? No, coughing has nothing to do with anything, guys. A lot of us cough, I cough all the time. I got allergies. But now if the coughing is connected to your lungs because you have an infection in your lungs, then that's something different. But just a regular cough due to cold, no, you don't break your fast for that. What about this? A headache. Like I told you guys, everybody gets a headache when they fast. And it's not because of coffee, like people think. My Muslim doctor explained that to me. My Muslim doctor said, Layla, the reason why we all get headaches when we fast, even if you are not a coffee drinker, is because your blood sugar level drops. Okay, and that creates a headache. And then when you break your fast and eat something sweet, the headache goes away. And I want y'all to try that. That's why it's good to break your fast with dates, because dates have a natural sugar. You eat one date and that headache is gone like in 5 minutes. So is headache an excuse to break your fast? No, unless it's a cluster headache or a migraine. Now, those type of headaches are different. Why? Because those are headaches that can lead to a terrible, worse sickness. You guys know if you suffer with migraines. You guys know if you suffer with cluster headaches. When you feel that coming on, if you don't break your fast and take your medicine, it's going to get worse. And those headaches can linger on for weeks. So the only type of headache that you can break your fast from, if it's a headache like a migraine or a cluster headache or something like that. But the regular headache that we get from stress, the regular headache we get from fasting, no, don't break your fast. What about minor aches and pains? Minor aches and pains? No, that's not the type of sickness either. Okay, it has to be a major pain. Like, say, for example, I have arthritis in some parts of my body. You know, I deal with that every day. But let's say that all of a sudden my stomach started hurting. I've never had a stomach ache like this. I mean, it's so bad, you know, that I'm vomiting, that I'm throwing up. Then in that case, I can break my fast, because that's something that's major. That's something that can lead to something else. But for minor aches, oh, I cut my finger. Oh, my hand, my finger hurts. We don't break our fast for minor stuff. And make sure you guys explain this to your children, because these are the games that children play. Omi, I cut my finger. Can I break my fast? Omi, my thumb hurts. Can I break my fast? No. What about a runny nose? No. A runny nose? No, that's not a reason to break your fast. Some people have runny noses all the time, like me. Y'all see me in here blowing my nose all the time. Is that an excuse to break my fast? No. So the sickness does not have to be major, but it shouldn't be something that's really not even in existence either. We have to remember the following things when it comes to sicknesses. If there is medical proof, or if a person knows from his usual experience, or if that person is absolutely certain that fasting will make his sickness worse or will delay his recovery, then he can break his fast. Everybody got that? Now, somebody here in the has asked me, just typed to me, question about asthma. Asthma does not break the fast, because guess what? You can take an inhaler, and I'm going to go over that too. There are certain medicines that we can take while fasting. You can take your insulin shot. An insulin shot does not break the fast. Taking your asthma inhaler, that does not break the fast. Nose drops. For the runny nose, you put in your nose drops. That does not break the fast. For runny eyes, you put in eye drops. Those things do not break the fast. So you can treat yourself. The minor sicknesses can usually be treated, and the things they treat it with don't break the fast. But if a person is seriously sick, he does not have to have the intention during the night to fast the next day. Let's say, for example, you go to work, you come home, and you just feel like, wow, something wrong. You coming down with the flu. Oh my God, I got COVID. You know, that's it. Nope, I can't fast, man, because I know I got to break this fast. Or you know you got the flu. Uh-oh, I can't breathe. I know I need antibiotics. If I don't get antibiotics I'm going to be sicker. They don't even make the intention to fast. The flu, RSV, COVID, sicknesses like that, you don't even make the attempt to fast because all those sicknesses get worse. Okay? What about this? And I get this every Ramadan. What if a person is afraid that they're going to fall out unconscious? If fasting causes unconsciousness, then you should break your fast and make that fast up later. Say, for example, a lot of you are nurses. I got a lot of nurses here. I don't know what's going on today, but why the cause is, but I'm telling you, my daughter's a nurse, and my daughter tells me that she works in a hospital. And she says, Umi, we're seeing so many cases of RSV and the flu, not so much COVID. And my daughter, she's had RSV twice and the flu. And when you got that RSV, or if you got the flu, I'm telling you guys, they're worse than COVID. My daughter tells me, she said, I had COVID 10 times, but COVID ain't nothing like this RSV. She said, COVID ain't nothing like the flu, because with COVID, you get better after 3 days. RSV can linger for weeks. The flu lingers for days. So my daughter told me she could always tell when it was the flu and not COVID because she gets dizzy. She said you get sick, you get hot, you run a fever, and you feel like you're just gonna fall out. Well, if you're sick like that, you're feeling like you're gonna faint, you're feeling like you're gonna fall out dizzy, then you should break your fast and make that day up later. Does everybody understand that? And that doesn't mean that you fake and pretend. I want the children to listen. There's a lot of children who play that game, because I used to play it too. Oh, mommy, I'm about to fall out. I'm so weak. I'm so hungry. I'm dizzy. The world is spinning. No. If you were about to fall out, honey, I would be able to tell by looking at your eyes. Okay? So children, don't play with that. But for the adults, if you feel like you're about to fall out, you're dizzy, it's just not right, that feeling that we get when we're really sick, coming down with something, then break your fast and make that day up. What about this? You're fasting, but you fall unconscious during the day. Say, for example, you at work. You wasn't feeling good, but you fasting. Then when you get home from work, 2 hours before Maghrib, you fall out unconscious. And when you wake up, your wife got you in the hospital, or your wife got you in the bed, with ice on you. Guess what? Your fast is still valid. So if something happens and you get sick, you start your day off fasting, but you get sick and fall unconscious, even if you wake up after the time to break fast or before it, your fast is valid. Or say, for example, you're at work. You're working on a machine at work, and the machine hits you in the head and you fall out unconscious. Your fast is still valid as long as you began the day fasting. Okay? But if you fall unconscious before Fajr, it ain't valid. Does everybody understand that? So I want you guys to remember that if you begin the day fasting and something happens and you fall out unconscious, you don't have to make that day up, even if you wake up after that day has ended. Okay? And a lot of people will tell you, oh, but Sister Layla, I read on some Islam Q&A website a different answer. Well, there's different views regarding whether a person who is unconscious must make up his fast. I'm talking about unconscious. Say, for example, you in a coma or something. A lot of people ask, if I was in a coma for 3 or 4 days during the month of Ramadan, do I have to make up those 3 or 4 days? Y'all understand the question? Sister Layla, I was sick. I had COVID. I was hospitalized during the month of Ramadan. And I was unconscious for a whole week. I missed a whole week of fasting. Do I have to make those days up? You're going to hear different opinions, but I'm going to give you the view of the scholars of this website. This is the view of Sheikh Abu Atayib, who is our website scholar. It's also the view of Dr. Ibrahim Jamali. It's also my view. It's also the view of Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli. Our view is as follows. The pen is lifted when a person is unconscious. So when a person is unconscious, they are not held accountable for what they did not do while in that state. So if you should become unconscious in a coma or sick and in a coma during the month of Ramadan, you don't have to make up anything, nor do you have to pay the ransom because you weren't present to do that. And this is also the view of Sheikh Uthaymeen. May Allah be pleased with him, who was one of the scholars who died in the early 2000s. He was a personal friend of Sheikh Abu Atayib, my teacher, and also Dr. Ibrahim Jamali as well. Sheikh Uthaymeen shares that view too. Okay? So if something happens while you're fasting and you become unconscious in a coma, or you're out for 3-4 days or even a whole month, you don't have to worry about making it up or paying a ransom because the pen is lifted. That's the view that we share. And I've given you the evidence. The evidence is the pen is lifted. Okay? What about this? Let's say that you are fasting and you're experiencing extreme hunger to the point that you think you will die. Now, I'm not talking about here in America. The children, you're fasting and you say, oh, I'm so hungry. Umi, I think I'm going to die. You ain't going to die. You had breakfast this morning. You can wait. And I'm not talking about you a person that's, oh, I'm so hungry. You know, you're a glutton anyway. You're a person that likes to overeat. And let's just face the reality. Americans are obese. We are an obese society. We eat too much, most of us. A lot of us like to exercise by bending the elbow to the mouth. So you got to give up food for 8 hours. And you're used to stuffing your face. Oh, Sister Layla, I'm about to die. I'm so hungry, I'm going to die. No, didn't you eat this morning? Yeah, I had pancakes, waffles, baked beans. Well, you ain't dying. Or did you eat this morning? Yeah, I had 2 bowls of cereal. Well, you ain't dying. I'm talking about people who are impoverished. There are people, even here in America, who don't have a meal at all. I remember one sister used to come to my classes every day. She lived here in America, but her and her husband were divorced. And she didn't have no money. I mean, she was living on welfare. And I didn't know this. She was breaking her fast every day, guys, on diet pills because she didn't have enough money. The little welfare check that she got wasn't enough to buy food with. And when we found out, we gave her some money from our website. But this sister, she had no food to eat. She was surviving off of diet pills. Now, if you're so hungry that you feel that you're about to die, and it's a real case like that, then you can break your fast. But you have to make that day up later. But again, we don't break our fast because we tired. We don't break our fast because of some imagined sickness. But if you really are a impoverished person, and you feel like you about to die, then break it with that water or whatever little bit that you have and make that day up later. The religion is easy, but I want everybody to understand that you can't fool Allah. Allah knows what's in your heart. Allah knows what you're thinking too. And Allah knows if you're trying to pull some scam on yourself. And what about this? There are some Muslims here who work in physically challenging jobs. Okay? If you're working in a physically challenging job, you are not permitted to break your fast. You're just like the pregnant woman. Pregnancy is physically challenging too. But just like the pregnant woman has to make the attempt to fast, you do too. You still have to make the attempt to fast. You need to have the intention and all of that. Okay? And if you cannot stop working and you feel that something harmful is getting ready to happen to you, for example, let's look at this picture here. This is a man who's a construction worker. Let's say that he's in the desert. Let's say it's 120 degrees outside. He has to stand up in that hot sun and put solar panels on his house. It's so hot. He's getting dizzy. He feels like he might fall off this roof. Then in that case, he can break his fast. But he should only eat what is enough to help him with that hardship. And he still has to make that day up later. So we recommend, but alhamdulillah, this is not the heat here in America. We'll be fasting during the cold months here, okay? It's not even hot in Florida or Texas. Okay, so inshallah, you guys don't have to worry about this. But if you were working in a challenging job like that and the heat or the climate was making it hard, you can break your fast, but you have to make that day up. You're not exempt from fasting. And we do advise that for those people who do work physically demanding jobs, try to go on vacation. Try to take your vacation this time of year. People who work with furnaces and smelting materials. Okay, try to make this the time of year, Ramadan, the time of year that you take your annual vacations. So it won't come between you and your relationship with Allah. Remember, whoever fears Allah and keeps his duty to him, Allah will make a way for you to come out of every difficulty. And Allah will provide you from sources you never imagined. So we highly encourage those people who do work strenuous, demanding jobs, that this is the time of year that you put in for your yearly vacation.